Good morning. The Louisiana Committee on Parole is impaneled at headquarters in Baton Rouge. Today's date is February 10th, 2026. The time is now 8:47. We're at the Rapides Detention Center for the purpose of a revocation hearing. And sir, would you introduce yourself and tell me your DOC number?
Okay, my name is Damon Gloston. My DOC number is 740905.
Just one moment, Mr. Gloston. Ladies, is there anybody in the room? We were expecting to see Mr. Crawford first.
No, I'm by myself.
Okay, well, just hang tight.
Yes, ma'am.
Pause and get.
Yeah, I'll take a night to take the polish. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, sir, thank you so much for your patience. So repeat your DOC number for me.
740905.
Okay. Mr. Gloston, do you have a piece of paper in front of you or in your possession that that shows some questionnaire regarding that you've signed? Is this
Oh, yes, ma'am. Let me see. Yes, ma'am, I have it.
okay? All right. So based on the answers to that questionnaire, you're not eligible for appointed counsel. Did you hire an attorney for today?
No, ma'am, I don't have any.
Okay. Sir, your case is going to be handled by Mr. Barra. He's going to ask you some questions and ask you to enter a plea. And we also do have your agent, Brandon Roy, who will also provide testimony. So, Mr. Barra.
It's alleged that you have violated condition number 4.
Oh,
But-
wait, I didn't introduce everybody. Sorry, go ahead.
by being engaged in criminal activity and or associating with persons known to be engaged in criminal activity. That the parolee was engaged in criminal activity, which was evidenced by his arrest on 11/5/25 by Jefferson Davis Parish Sheriff's Office, and the parolee being charged with unlawful use of social media, 2 counts, and unlawful presence of a sex offender and or child predator. At the preliminary hearing, you admitted and pled guilty to that violation. Do you still feel the same today?
The violation of, now, so which one, unlawful presence?
The number 4, unlawful use of social media.
Well, yes, yeah, I was on social media, but at the time, honestly, I really thought it was just Facebook or Instagram. You know, I thought that was the only 2. And on my behalf, some of those friends I talked to on that website knew of my sexual, my sex offender status, and yeah.
So you actually, you admit that you did it, that you were on it, but you didn't think it was wrong. That's your statement?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Officer Roy, can you tell us anything about that violation?
Yes. So, I had ended up getting contacted by an officer, or by a friend of mine who works for another agency, and he advised that he had been contacted by Mr. Gloston on Grinder, which is a dating app for male people, male subjects. So I ended up doing some research and ended up getting a search warrant for his Grinder account, and the results showed that he had 2 different Grinder accounts, which that's what he was actually charged with, was the unlawful use of social media, 2 accounts, 2 counts because he had 2 different social media accounts on Grinder.
Other than these, how has he been on supervision? Is he easy to supervise?
He had a job the whole time that he was out. He was paying his fees and whatnot. Other than that, I had no other issues with him. He had the previous time I had supervised him, he was arrested for the same thing, was social media.
So he's been arrested before for social media violation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. I don't have any more questions.
So,
Does
Ms.
anybody
Singleton,
else have
do you have any questions? Mr. Gloston, would you like to make a statement before the panel would be prepared to vote?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, I knew I was on there, and just wanted to, state that, I really would like to keep my residence at my home, and my job's probably still there. And, if there is any way that, that y'all can find it, to where I could just, get out and go straight back to work and keep my residence, and, try and, basically keep this from getting out to where I have to lose my house and go re-register and all that again, really good, really good person, just made a bad mistake getting on there. But like I said, I really didn't think it was that serious at the time, ma'am.
But you've already been charged with it previously. How did you think it's not serious?
Yeah, but this time, I told some of the people that I talked to that my sex, me being a sex offender and stuff, and
But you did have a job. What's the issue with keeping your monitor charged?
with that, see, when I had my charger at work, I worked at the metal plate in Roanoke, and I didn't know it wasn't supposed to get wet. So sometimes when I get off in the morning, I work 12 hours. When I got off in the morning, I'll take a shower and I'll go to sleep. And sometimes it would instantly just die, and I'll wake up and have to hurry to recharge. And then sometimes it'll get to 13%, not knowing that it will tell me I have to charge my phone. Charge my
You're not being charged with that. I'm just asking.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I understand. Yes, ma'am.
I have no other questions. I'm ready to.
We're prepared to vote. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I've been assigned your case and I vote first, Mr. Gloston. And quite obvious, you just didn't follow the rules that you knew were a violation, and just coming here and admitting them, we appreciate that. However, you violated the conditions of your parole, so I have no choice but to revoke.
Ms. Stapleton.
I concur, Mr. Barrow.
Mr. Gloston, if you were not a fourth felony offender and this wasn't a problem, I would probably look differently, but you knew the rules. So my vote is also to revoke. You need to follow your conditions of parole. This case has been concluded, and that's the only business we have at that facility. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. The Louisiana Committee on Parole is in panel at headquarters in Baton Rouge. Today, serving on the panel to my left is Ms. Carolyn Stapleton. To my right is Danny Barra. I'm Jerry Ledoux. Would the staff here at DOC introduce yourself for the record?
Carla Williams.
Francis Abbott.
Our remote location right now is the Louisiana Correctional Institute for Women. And with the offender, please state your name and your DOC number.
Tiffany Woods, 545546.
45546. Thank you. Ms. Woods, you have a large number of people in your support both here and at the facility and on Zoom. And so we have all of their names recorded for the record. We won't go through all of those at this time. We are going to read some information into the record, and then we'll get started on the interview. So, Ms. Woods, we find that you're a first felony offender, currently serving a 36-year sentence for second-degree murder. You have a parole eligibility date of 9/18/2026, an adjusted good time date of January 29th, 2036, and a full term date of 9/17/2042. Does that sound correct to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Warden, we appreciate you being here. Would you and your staff introduce yourself for the record?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Kristen Thomas, Warden.
Tara P. ARDC Manager.
Afton Gaddy, ARDC Supervisor.
Great. Warden, at this time, would you like to make a statement about the offender before we begin the interview?
Sure. Miss Woods, has been here for a good bit of time. She has actually completed her NOBTS or seminary in Blackstone. So I know her and I've talked a little bit in the past. Just I think her NOBTS graduation was just something that she was very proud of. And I think she really does a good job working in the seminary and counseling and mentoring other inmates in the at LCIW. She is not a disciplinary problem. We don't have any issues with Tiffany the entire time that I've been here with her. She is low risk and low needs. I think Mr. Myers is on, so I'll let him talk more. But if she is, she does receive a favorable decision today, she will release to the parole project. So I'm sure Mr. Myers will go into detail on what that will include for her discharge planning.
Thank you so much, Warden. We do have Mr. Myers and several others who would like to speak on her behalf. How would you like to handle it? You want to hear them all? Well, first of all, Tiffany, I would like to hear from you and find out, can you, in your words, tell us why you're before this panel today and why we should consider an early release?
Yes, ma'am. Well, by the time of my crime, I just had my third child. Then I had my fourth child, Emmanuel Anthony Woods. He was born June 23rd, 2005. He was born premature and unresponsive. He was in a NICU for a couple of months. And when he was discharged to my care 2 weeks before Hurricane Katrina hit. Me and my family left our home August the 28th of 2005 because I wanted to save my family, my children. We left. We didn't know where we was going to go, but we ended up in Shreveport, Louisiana. When we arrived in Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, we didn't have anywhere to go. We was homeless. We was just out there. But eventually we found shelter at two gymnasiums for refugees. We went to one of them, we stayed, we had a lot of uncertainties. We was in a large gymnasium with nothing but people. I was afraid. I didn't know what to do, but I wanted my family to be close to me. At the time, my son, Emmanuel, he was still taking his formula, but he was throwing up his formula in large amounts. I didn't know what to do. I was overwhelmed. I was scared, but I still tried to feed my child. I didn't know what else to do but just to continue pushing. And I asked their dad, Emmanuel, if he can find us a safe place to live. It took him some time to do so, but he eventually found us a home. We moved into that home, and around that time, I ran out of WIC vouchers for my son, Emmanuel. I didn't know what to do. I made the devastating decision. Chase my child's milk, and he was taking his milk because I felt that by him taking it and not throwing up in large amounts like he was when he was taking his formula, I thought he was doing better, but he wasn't doing better. I didn't know how to go about anything but survival mode. When I was giving him his milk, I thought again, I really thought he was doing better. I love all my children. I love every last one of my children. I love my son till today. I love him. And I know he's gone because of me. But I didn't mean to take his life.
Woods, I know it's very difficult. Why don't we go ahead and we're going to go ahead and hear from your son then. Mr. Najon Woods has joined us via Zoom, and we'll go ahead and listen to him. Okay.
Good morning, Parole Board of Louisiana. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Greetings from California, and thank you for taking the time to hear me on this morning. My name is Najon Justin Woods, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself and my 3 younger siblings to express our full and unwavering support for our mother, Tiffany Woods. I want to acknowledge the seriousness of her past actions and the impact that they had. We all lost something that day. My mom lost a son. My siblings and I lost a brother. My aunts and uncles lost a nephew, and my grandparents lost a grandchild, all during Hurricane Katrina, where we already lost everything else. And then we lost our mom physically to prison, but being in prison didn't stop our mom from loving us and mothering us. Even though she was not there physically, she remembered birthdays, sent gifts, wrote songs for us, talked to us on the phone for graduations, proms, and she would always encourage us to help us through our hard times the best she can in the capacity she could. Members of the board, it is my belief that we all need her children. All her children need her, and we long to build our relationship with our mom outside of prison. We all served the sentence with our mom. In her own way, she was there when most family members were not. And I believe she deeply cared for us. Over the years, we've witnessed her grow into a new woman. Through visits and phone conversations, my mom has expressed deep remorse for her past actions and has worked hard to address the underlying issues that led her to incarceration. It is my belief that she has shown commitment to rehabilitation through her programming, maturity, accountability, and her new faith in God, which she shares with us regularly. All her children, our extended family, and the communities that we're a part of are all prepared to support her in housing, guidance, and stability. She will not be alone in this transition, and if granted parole, I know that she will continue improving herself and proving herself. I respectfully ask with humility that the board considers us, her children, and our forgiveness and the love for our mother, her progress and mindset and her behavior while incarcerated, and our family's commitment to her success while making your decision. And I want to thank you for taking the time for allowing me to speak on behalf of my siblings. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very well spoken. We also have Stephanie King, who is here at the headquarters, who would like to speak in support. And ma'am, if you'll approach the podium and direct your comments to the panel.
My name is Stephanie King. Some of you may know me or remember me, and some of you may not. I too was once at LCIW with Tiffany. I served 27 and a half years of a 60-year sentence. Before this committee saw in me what I hope you see in Tiffany today. Like Tiffany, I too came from a troubled past and used my time at LCIW to rise and rehabilitate myself. Choose to take advantage of a number of educational opportunities and grow into someone who is doing well today as a law-abiding tax-paying citizen. I remember when Tiffany came to LCIW, she was young and confused and full of greed, but our close-knit family of women took her in and helped her find her way. The turn she has taken has been dramatic and inspiring. She immediately got involved in things once she arrived, taking programs, joining clubs, going to school, and spending quality time with her family during visits. An incarcerated person's schedule in prison can be very busy, and to be able to work your full-time job, mentor, or help others, fulfill your obligations to running programs and ministries is far from easy. However, Tiffany is doing it and doing it well. She teaches soft skill classes, leads an LCIW choir, and fully gives back to mentees and other incarcerated women in any way she can. She has grown and used the time she has been incarcerated to find her footing and become deeply rooted in her relationship with God. She graduated from the New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary with a bachelor's degree. Today, she has a community she never had before. She worked with a tight-knit community of women, of formerly incarcerated women who have been with Tiffany along the way, now reside in that group. We want you to know that we are still here to support her as we supported her in prison. She is not alone. She will be loved and she will be supported. Today, she has the Louisiana Parole Project, friends, and family completely ready to stand by her side and help her navigate with any issues, situations, or problems she will encounter. And today, I pray you see how far she has grown and all the things she has done to better herself while incarcerated. I pray you see how she has truly transformed her life and become a whole new woman. Thank you.
We also have Carrie Myers with the Louisiana Parole Project who would like to speak.
Yes, good morning, board. Carrie Myers with Louisiana Parole Project here on behalf of Tiffany Woods. You've read her package. You see the Tiffany, the trauma and dysfunction of her childhood and early teens, the chaos surrounding the aftermath of Katrina, and a person who lacked the skills to cope with everything she had experienced. But the Tiffany that's sitting before you now has coping skills, is educated. She went from not having a high school education to now being college degreed. I'm not going to go through all her accomplishments. I'll let her attorney do that. But you can see they're extensive and extraordinary, what she has done. We're here to support Tiffany in her transition. You can see also the family support and community support that she has. But Parole Project is prepared to also do what we do and help her through this transition. She's already been interviewed and assessed by our mental health team, our employment team. She is absolutely prepared for gainful employment. We have a plan for her transition and support systems, counseling, and the other things that she would need. We are prepared to provide her with long-term housing. Out of a tragedy has come something that I think could inspire people. And Tiffany has done that. And we're here to support her, and we ask this board to consider all the factors in this and grant her parole today.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. Tiffany, I think at this point, we have also your attorney, Ms. Hutchinson, and I would like for y'all to decide. Mr. Barra is going to start asking questions. Ms. Hutchinson, would you like to make a statement before or after the questions are asked?
I'd like to go after the questions if that's allowed. Thank you.
Certainly. Mr. Barra?
Well, my questions would be answered by your brief, so I'm defer to let you.
Okay, so well, thank you all again for considering Tiffany and her case. She comes before you today because of the process afforded to her by the Louisiana State Constitution. In 2023, this honorable board recommended her sentence be commuted to 36 years. And as you know, that recommendation does not come easy. So today I'll spend a little time reiterating what was present in 2023 and what is still present today as she seeks parole at 20 years and about 55% of that sentence. And I know y'all have the brief, but so I'll be brief about it. She has the paralegal certification. She has worked previously as inmate counsel. She has associate's and a bachelor's degree in Christian ministry, and she has hours actually towards her master's degree. And if you see the letter of recommendation by Dr. Sharkey, who's the director of chaplaincy for the Department of Corrections, she talks about how Tiffany kind of has integrated her faith and her ministry into being a choir director. She talks about the choir is not simply about music or performance. Tiffany has intentionally used rehearsals as opportunities for spiritual formation. She regularly opens her practices with scripture and prayer and often holds meetings focused solely on studying the word of God and building godly character. And it just shows you that she's intertwined her education and her spiritual beliefs in the work that she does regularly. So gainful employment through the Louisiana Parole Project won't be hard. She has crew leadership. She has pesticide. She's able to do pesticide, both residential and commercial, as well as serve safe. She's been a mentor. She's done peer ministry, doing rounds at the infirmary, choir director, and she's taught trauma healing. You'll see from Nijon speaking and her talk about Hannah's gift and learning how to add faith in her parenting from a distance, one of the core classes that helped save her. She's volunteered around the prison and programming and speaking to people that come in, and she's a published author. Exhibit 11 is all her publications, writing through her trauma and her grief. She's taken self-help programs, and all of this was started when Tiffany got in, when she sat down and had to recognize the deficiencies in her life at the time of the crime. Her education, her parenting, her mentorship, and the immense remorse and grief that she has for the loss of baby Emmanuel and the separation of her children. She's connected with those who were harmed the most after the crime, and that's her children, the siblings of baby Emmanuel, the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles, the cousins that are all present with you and who support her. Because of her sentence currently, Tiffany will be released one day. There's no doubt. However, today this committee is allowed to control what that release looks like. Today you can allow LPP to be a part of her success. That transition, including substance abuse classes, grief and trauma management, and family reunification, employment services, housing, that provide for a safer introduction into community and a reentry that poses no threat to society. I believe that you all see that those most affected by the crime have forgiven her. And no one is saying that this crime wasn't horrible or devastating, but they all are saying that they want her home. I think that she has proven by her disciplinary record and what the warden has said that she's put in the work. And we are here to support her, and as well as her family and her children. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We do have opposition, and we will allow Ms. Fitzgerald with the CADDO DA's Victim Assistance Committee to speak. But we'll go ahead and you can ask some questions if you want.
I don't have any questions.
Mrs. Stapleton, do you have any questions?
I'm gonna let Leon speak first.
Ms. Fitzgerald, thank you.
Still muted, Leon. Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm not on my regular computer. I'm Leon Fitzgerald. I'm with the Caddo Parish DA's office. I'm director of the Victim Assistance Program, and I'm here to vehemently oppose on behalf of my office today. This is a difficult case. It's very emotional. It's heartbreaking. We've heard a lot about the situation that Miss Woods was in with her family having to evacuate due to Hurricane Katrina. And honestly, at this point, my office is getting a little tired of hearing about that because while we don't undermine that, I know it had to be chaotic and stressful and unprecedented, but it wasn't a reason for Miss Woods to not feed her baby. And so this baby was thriving when, yes, he was born premature, but all the records indicate, all the experts have indicated that when he left the hospital at Tulane, that he was thriving, he was taking a bottle, he had gained several pounds since he was born. And so we think that that is significant. This baby, let's see, when he was in the hospital in 41 days, he gained 1 pound and 12 ounces. And after he was released into his mother's care, in 2.5 months, this baby gained 7 ounces. His weight at death was 5 pounds and 13 ounces, and he was about 5 months old. So that's unacceptable. Once the family relocated to Shreveport, they were eventually able to get a nice brick house. If you saw the pictures from the scene, they had made a home. It was well furnished with nice furniture. It had beds. It also had cases of baby food in the photographs. So they were getting baby food in jars for their other child. The refrigerator was well stocked with milk, beer, adult food. So it wasn't like they were destitute and everybody was starving to death. There was an empty box that would have contained a case of beer in the photographs of the scene. So we dismiss the narrative that these people had no choices. They had a vehicle. In fact, the records indicate they had 2 vehicles. They had been to Walmart the day before this happened. Why not pick up some baby formula while you're at Walmart? Or if you have a vehicle, take the baby to the doctor, go to the emergency room. I hope that the board was able to view the pictures that I emailed and see how no rational person could look at that poor, emaciated baby and not do something. Take him to the emergency room, take him to the doctor, take him to a fire station and drop him off where he would have a chance for strangers to take care of him. So I think there were a lot of options that these people chose not to take. All the doctors that testified in this case said that this baby could have been saved, that he didn't have to die. And so I appreciate the comments from Miss Wood's family. My heart goes out to them. They are victims in this too. I can't imagine what it was like for them. I think it's a huge sign of their moral character that they're behind her. But the role of the district attorney's office is to see that justice is served and to speak for those who can't speak for themselves, like baby Emmanuel. There were over 1 million people that evacuated New Orleans for Hurricane Katrina, but how many of them let their baby starve to death? Miss Woods was 25 years old. She had 3 other kids. She wasn't a new teenage mom. She had a common law husband who was there. He had a job at McDonald's and was working. They were getting FEMA money. They were getting WIC. Even when the WIC ran out, there's no excuse for feeding your baby watered down powdered milk. That just doesn't make any sense for any rational person to do such a thing. So, we also had time, the baby, as you all know, died on November 27th of 2005. This case took a lot of investigation and obtaining records, and so Ms. Woods wasn't indicted until September of 2006, which gave us about 10 months to
I'm sorry.
There were lots of psychiatric evaluations. By the way, I'm not sure if the board is aware that this was not the first time that one of Miss Woods's children had suffered from malnourishment. Prior to baby Emmanuel's death, they had been involved with CPS baby formula, and she admitted at her trial that she knew that the baby needed formula. And she had already gone through this, giving a baby watered down milk with another one of her children. So it doesn't hold water, but she said about being the aftermath of Katrina. Ma'am?
We're having a lot of computer interference. Can, yes.
Not now.
I don't have good internet. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay.
She's calling in.
I think we got the gist of it. Ms. Fitzgerald, because of the computer issue, I think we've got the gist of what you were communicating. Okay, so thank you very much for your comments and being with us. So now does the panel have any questions, Mr. Balrog?
No questions.
Leon answered my questions.
Okay. So we've heard from everyone. Tiffany, I'd like to give you one last opportunity to make a statement before the panel would vote.
First and foremost, I will say thank you for this opportunity. Secondly, I understand that this crime should have never happened, but it did. I did not intend to harm my son. He's gone. I cannot get him back. I wish I could. I tore my family apart because of the decision that I made. There's no excuse, and I'm not sitting here making one. But I can say that I love my children, every last one of them. Always did, always will. I was a young mother, yes. But at the end of the day, I was still a mother. I tried my best. And sometimes your best is not good enough. But I can say that I did all that I could have done. And the pertaining to my son's passing, I had a hand into that. And I tore it everything apart. And I cannot say that I can't get it back, and I wish I could. I wish I could get him back, but he's gone. But my children that remains is still here, and I would love to have a relationship with them outside of here. I can't say that just because Katrina happened, that's an excuse. It's not. But Katrina did happen. And I left because I wanted to save myself and my children. Foremost, I wanted to save them. And again, I can't say nothing else, but I'm not that person that I was back then. I grieve my son every day.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
If I may, can I just clarify just a couple things from my record?
I don't think at this time it would be appropriate.
Okay.
All right. I'm assigned the case, so I'll get to be the one to vote first. Before I vote, I do need to acknowledge that you're doing a good job where you are, that you completed a lot of good programs, which we didn't get into a whole lot of details about, but there's a lot of programs you completed that are very good. You have a low risk on your Tiger score. You got many letters of support from friends, family, employees. You are a true first offender. This is the first crime you ever committed. And there's no victim opposition. We have law enforcement opposition, but no victim opposition. So all of that being said, I'm going to vote today to grant parole to the Parole Project for a minimum of 1 year, that you take mental health classes, substance abuse classes, parenting classes, whatever they have to offer at the Parole Project. I want you busy with classes the whole time you're there.
Or a job.
You know what?
Or a job.
And a job. Ms. Lou said, or a job. I said, and a job. So we want you to be busy. And that's my vote.
Stapleton.
I agree with everything that Mr. Byron just said. Everything. And then I saw the pictures of the baby. And then, you know, we heard Leon describe the situation. Based upon what I saw and what I heard from Leon as reasons why they indicted you and you were found guilty of the crime of second-degree murder. You did get life, and then it was reduced to 36 years, of which you served half of, 18 of the 36 years. And you've done remarkable, wonderful things. But because of the condition of the child and the circumstances that the DA's office described, I am not going to be able to grant you parole today, and extreme law enforcement opposition.
Ms. Woods, my vote today is grant parole to the Parole Project. You have you pose no risk to public safety. You have done an excellent job of rehabilitation. Your conduct has been very good, and your plans for reentering are excellent. But at this time, you needed a unanimous vote. So today, your parole has been denied. We wish you well. Thank you very much. And that concludes our business there at LCIW.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. The Louisiana Committee on Parole is impaneled at headquarters in Baton Rouge. On my left is Ms. Stapleton. To my right is Mr. Barra and Ms. Ledoux. And we are at Rapides Detention Center for the purpose of a revocation. Mr. Crawford, is there anyone in the room with you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Sir, then would you introduce yourself with your name and your DOC number?
Ted Crawford, 764-273.
Hey, Mr. Crawford, you're before this panel because you've been accused of violating conditions of your parole. Do you have a questionnaire in front of you that you signed, you recognize your signature on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That, the answers to that questionnaire indicate that you are not eligible for appointed counsel. Have you hired an attorney for today?
No, ma'am.
Okay, we'll go ahead and start. Mr. Barra, Ms. Stapleton is going to read out your allegations, or do you want me to?
Oh, I got them. Thank
Okay.
you, though.
So, and then we have a friend, Anthony McEvers, that we will hear from after Ms. Stapleton concludes her business.
Okay. Good morning. Rule violation number 4, in that you have failed to refrain from engaging in criminal activity by your arrest on 11/14/2025 by the Pineville Police Department for the alleged offenses of battery on a police officer and resisting an officer. Court date is 4/2/2026 on pending charges. How do you plead on that?
Well, resisting arrest, I plead guilty, but I didn't batter no police officer, ma'am.
So guilty with a statement. Let's go there, and then you can get to explain it. Okay. All right, and then number 10, you have failed to maintain your monetary obligations set by Department of Corrections, which is evident by your arrears in the amount of $315. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Okay. Okay, why don't you tell me in your words what happened that day?
Well, whenever they came to the house, I didn't know my friend and his old lady was there. I told them that they wasn't there. And then come to find out they was there, so they opened an investigation on me. They checked my ID, I gave it to them. And whenever they ran my name, they found my dad's name, comma Junior. They found his name with 5 warrants. They came back talking about I had 5 warrants. And I put my hand up in front of me like this and told them I went and see my PO that morning, and they snatched me off the porch. And then they slammed me on the ground. They got me in the cuffs. And then they said I spit on the cop, but I didn't spit on the cop.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that one. So, when the officer fell on the ground, did you see him grab his leg or anything? Was he able to walk, or was he, kind of hobbled at that point?
No, ma'am.
You didn't notice like he looked like he was injured in any way, his leg?
No, ma'am.
And so they arrested you. And I know that, like you said, the warrant was not for you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I don't have any further questions at this time.
Mr. Barra.
No question.
Mr. Crawford, had you already spent 28 days in a inpatient drug program since you were out?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When I was reading the file, I was a little concerned about your housing stability. Were you homeless at the time of this arrest?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you had some stability.
Yes, ma'am.
You had some, okay. You have a friend, I said, Anthony McEvers. At this time, would you like to make a statement, Mr. McEvers?
Yes, ma'am. I was contacted and was told to give y'all the point-to-point witness testimony to what had happened that day. I was there. I was standing right beside Taz Crawford Jr. when everything had happened. Do you want me to tell you how everything befold?
I think that would be enlightening. Yes.
All right. Police officers had showed up to 406 First Street and was doing a wellness check because my mother-in-law called a wellness check. Taz Crawford had not known that I was in the house because I usually take the other truck to go do my errands. I have two vehicles. And my other vehicle he just did not see. I was asleep. He had gotten me. I walked to the door. That's when the second officer said that he had a warrant for his arrest. Taz Crawford Jr. had put his hand up, was saying, "Hey, I went to my probation officer. There's no way. Could you check it again, give or take?" And the officers had grabbed him and slammed him to the concrete step below. Now, the bigger officer did bash his, I think, right knee onto the concrete. But he was able to walk away from it. He said it was bruised. He'll be fine. They proceeded to throw him around from the concrete to the grass yard in my front yard, and then proceeded to bring him to the cop car, slam him into the back door, and then they had made a distinct. They finally figured out that they got the wrong name. They still charged him, obviously, but he was not spitting on the officers. He was the whole time he was tensed up, trying to tell them, "Hey, could you please run my name again? There's no way I could be wanted if I just saw my parole officer." The officers just put him in his car and they decided to file charges anyways, and they drove off. I went to the station to make sure what was going on. They said that I would have to just wait and see, honestly. Taz Crawford is a real good gentleman. He actually had a job, if you believe that. I was helping him get a better job, something he can be able to pay back some of his dues, which I'm still looking for. I actually work for a company that would actually hire him for some of his skill sets. And I'm just hoping, he'll maybe be released soon so I can get him started on the path of being able to pay some things back and being able to start his life again since it's been put on pause.
I see that there's going to be pending charges in a court case on 4/2. Are you going to be called as a witness for that court case? Have you heard anything about that?
No, ma'am. I have not heard not a single word about anything.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you were subpoenaed for anything. Okay, well, thank you. Anybody have any questions for him?
I don't.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Okay, so Ms. Stapleton's asked her questions. Do we have any questions for you, Mr. Barra?
Just one. Mr. Crawford, you've been in jail since November 14th, 25?
Yes, sir.
That's my only question.
Do you know if you will have the opportunity to have bail or be released if you are not held on our warrant?
Yes, ma'am. I will be able to.
Okay. All right. I don't have other questions either.
I need to go in executive session.
Request has been made for executive session by Ms. Stapleton.
Yes.
Mr. Barak concurs. So we will be with you. We're going to discuss confidential information. Okay, we've returned from executive session. Mr. Crawford, let me ask one more time. You have stable housing?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay, because I read the report and you didn't when you first got out last,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just want to make sure of that because that's a big deal for me. All right. Stapleton,
Okay, Mr. Crawford, my vote today is gonna be to not revoke your parole.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Varro,
I'm gonna also vote to not revoke, but I'm gonna add a condition that you complete substance abuse evaluation and any treatment that's ordered.
he just got out of 28 days.
When did you get out the 28 days?
August 5th, I believe.
And what's your sobriety plan after that? What are you doing now? Meetings?
I was staying clean. I had got me a job, and I was planning on starting going to AA meetings and stuff here in Alexandria.
All right, I'll accept AA meetings in place of the substance abuse.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Crawford, my vote is also to not revoke you, to continue you on supervision with the condition that you have at least one time a week you go to an AA meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's our decision and you will be processed for release.
All right. Thank you.
Good morning. The Louisiana Committee on Parole is impaneled at headquarters in Baton Rouge. Today on the panel to the left is Ms. Stapleton, to my right, Mr. Barra, and Ms. Ledoux. Would you please state your name and your DOC number for the record?
TYRESE COOPER, 765-289.
Mr. Cooper, do you have a piece of paper in front of you that has your signature?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The answers to that questionnaire indicate that you are not eligible for appointed counsel. Did you hire an attorney for today?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Cooper, you're here because you have been charged with violating conditions of your parole. We're going to read out those conditions. You're going to enter a plea of guilty, guilty with a statement, or not guilty. Mr. Barra is going to handle that, those questionings. But before he does, do you have anybody in the room there at the BOSSIER Max facility?
No, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Barra.
All right, this is somewhat of a repeat of your preliminary hearing that you had with your parole officer. I'm gonna go over the same violations that you've already pled guilty to all of them at the preliminary hearing and see what you have to say about them now. Condition number 2, that you failed to report for the month of April and May of 2025. How do you plead to that?
I plead guilty.
You tested positive for marijuana on April 9th, 2025. How do you plead to that one?
Guilty.
You committed the offense of child desertion and pled guilty as charged on 10/9/25 and was sentenced to serve 6 months in jail. How do you plead to that one?
Guilty.
You committed the offense of unauthorized entry of an inhabited dwelling and pled guilty to simple criminal trespassing on October 9th, 2025 and sentenced to 30 days. How do you plead to that one?
Guilty.
Right. You committed the offense of unauthorized entry. Okay, now never mind. That one was not processed. Number 7, you failed to report for the month of April, making it impossible for your parole officer to see you. How do you plead to that one?
Guilty.
And you're behind $632 on your parole fees. How do you plead to that one?
Guilty.
Okay. So again, you pled guilty to all of the violations that was alleged by the parole officer. Do you have any statement that you would like to make to us before we vote about revocation of parole?
The authorized interest charge, I was paroled out to that house, and that child desertion, they just gave me the charge because I was living there. But it wasn't my charge, but they gave me the charge because I was living there, and something happened with another person and her baby, but I was living there, so they gave me that charge. I just pled guilty to it because it was a misdemeanor. And for April, I didn't show up in April because I had to go to work. I was working at Dollar General, and I had to go to work, not Dollar General, but Family Dollars, and I had to go to work. But I did report, which I called it, I did report to the parole office, and I think it's in Benton or Menden. I think one of the parole officers that's supposed to parole to.
Okay. All right, anybody has questions? All right, Mr. Cooper, I'm assigned your case, so I'll have to vote first. It looks like you continued criminal behavior while you're on supervision and didn't report like you were supposed to or pay. You leave me no choice after being convicted of new charges. I have to vote to revoke your parole.
I concur with Mr. Barra.
My vote is also to revoke. So today you have been revoked, Mr. Cooper.
Yes, ma'am. Well, long up the street. Then.
I don't know if it's good. Others? Yeah. Something. If you can hear us, I'm trying to get it to work. No, no. Hayden didn't say, he just said turn the audio on. Who took a break? You might think about working it. The person knows how to work it. Left.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The Louisiana Committee on Parole is impaneled at headquarters in Baton Rouge. Seated to my left is Carolyn Stapleton. To my right is Danny Byroth. I'm Jerry Ledoux. Our remote location is Caldwell Parish Detention. Is there anyone else in the room with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Would staff please introduce yourself for the record?
Lieutenant Michael Doty.
Nice to have you. Do you have any comments, Mr. Doty, about his conduct since he's been in there?
No, ma'am, I've had no problem with this inmate.
Thank you very much. Sir, would you please state your name and your DOC number for the record?
JERQUAN Cunningham. 785-712.
Okay. Mr. Cunningham, do you have a parole questionnaire in front of you that you recognize your signature?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the answers to those questions indicate that you are not eligible for appointed counsel. Did you hire an attorney for today?
No, ma'am, I didn't even know when my paperwork was when the hearing was gonna be. I just know that.
You were provided with that information. So today we're going to read some allegations of violations of your parole, and you're going to give us a plea of guilty with a statement, or not guilty. And Mr. Barra is going to read those allegations.
Looking at your case, it looks like you have a pending court date on some felony drug charges for February 19th. Is that still your pending date?
When they say February
19th, next week.
I ain't know. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Would you like to continue this hearing until after the outcome of them charges?
Say to win to after.
Yeah, go to court on that and see what happens before we hear your case right now.
It's like March 14th.
No, sir. We should go do it right now.
Okay. All right, then I'll read the violation, and you can make a statement either guilty, not guilty, guilty with a statement. On May 28, 25, you were billed by Grand Parish DA with possession of a controlled dangerous substance Schedule 2, which the Colfax Police Department arrested you on on 4/7/25. According to the bill, the alleged crime occurred on March 14th, 2025. And I believe that's the one that's continued. How do you plead to that charge?
I did a 3-day sanction on it, so I was trying to see.
Well, that's different. You got a 3-day sanction, but you still got to face the charges.
Well, I'm saying this.
The DA can charge you, give you years on it. It's a felony.
Well, I'm trying to see, like, what I'm trying to see, like, how is it supposed to go? I don't know how it's supposed to go. You know what I'm saying, sir? I don't.
Well, we're going to determine if you violated your parole today, and we're going to either leave you on parole, or we're going to revoke you. Or I gave you the option, you can wait till the outcome of that charge, and then we'll make that decision.
That's certainly my first time doing it. I'm trying to see how this what's going on, sir. On news.
So you want to go on with it, you said, so.
Yeah. So not guilty.
Would you plead guilty or not guilty to that charge?
Not guilty.
You want to make a statement about it?
Oh, yes, sir. There were other people standing in the house.
We're gonna come back to that one. All right, you were arrested on 4/7/25 by the Colfax Police Department for charged with sexual battery, misdemeanor, and simple battery based on warrants obtained by the Colfax Police Department, in which took place on or about January 25th or February 25th. And you were served with a notice of preliminary hearing, and you chose to defer pending disposition of the charge. Since the charge of sexual battery, misdemeanor battery, and simple battery have been declined by the DA's office, the CDS charge, which we just talked about, still remains. I see that the sexual charges was declined by the DA because of lack of cooperation from the victim. So we're going to eliminate the sexual charges on that one. Again, according to the Bill of Information, for possession of CDS charge, on March 14th, you were found in possession of methamphetamine. You appeared in court on October 16, 2025 for a status hearing in which the trial was set for February 19th. So that's the one that's coming up next week. How do you plead to that charge?
Not guilty.
All right. And that you failed to make payments toward your fees. How do you plead to that?
Not guilty.
You paid your fees?
I can, I will. Now, I was trying to make payments, and then I never missed a day.
All right. So go ahead and tell me, go ahead and make your statement about the drug charge that's pending.
Well, they said it was paraphernalia. They said it was paraphernalia from a broken pipe that was found in a trash can. You know what I'm saying, in the place I was living in that I cleaned up. I cleaned up a place that I was living in, and it had other people in the house. I was the only person who took to jail when it had other people in the house.
So they found paraphernalia with drug residue in the house where you were living.
Yes, sir.
And you say that you don't know nothing about it. It's not yours.
We had other people living in the house.
That's what we're gonna have the trial for next week. Okay. And then you failed to make any payments toward your supervision fees. It says any payments. That means like not one.
So I had to get out. Once I got out, I had to find a job.
Did you?
Yes, sir. I had found a job, but I don't know if I still got it now.
Were you paying your fees when you got your job?
See, I had to go a weekend.
You had to do what?
Had to go a weekend. Had to
What you
get the job first.
So you didn't have a job.
I had to find a job. What was it?
Okay. All right.
Had to had to find a job, sir.
All right. That's all the questions I had for him.
I don't have any questions.
Mr. Cunningham, do you have a drug problem?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
All right. With no time to vote. With no more questions, it's time to vote. I gotta vote first. I'm gonna have to vote to revoke your parole due to continued criminal activity while on supervision, using drugs, possessing drugs.
Stapleton.
I concur with Mr. Parole.
Okay, Mr. Cunningham, let me give you just a little bit of understanding here. So when you're honest with us, we can help you, but so you don't have a drug problem. You're going to be going up for these charges for possession of drugs, okay? But you actually tested positive for drugs. So is it not a problem that you do it, or is it just because it's our problem?
I've tested positive for drugs. Well, yeah, I got a problem then.
Okay.
Positive, yes, I got a problem.
Have you ever had drug treatment?
Oh, man. I haven't had no kind of treatment. I've been trying to get treatment, and all they do is ship me. I've been trying to go get my GED and everything else. All they do is ship me around.
Well, I'm going to vote to revoke. I could have, if you'd admitted it to begin with, we could have sent you maybe to a drug rehab program. But my vote is going to be to revoke.
I didn't know I took a test.
You could have told the truth.
Well,
Positive drug. Okay. All right. So today you have been revoked. We do wish you well. That concludes our business there.
I didn't know I had a problem.
Hello, this is the Louisiana Committee on Parole, and we're impaneled here at headquarters in Baton Rouge. On my left is Ms. Stapleton. To my right is Mr. Barra. And I'm Jerry Ledoux. Would you introduce yourself and give us your DOC number? Okay, you're on mute, so we can't hear you. Okay.
Okay, my name is Richard Jason Festavan, and my DOC number is 176698.
Okay. The staff there in the room, please introduce yourself for the record.
Yes, ma'am. Lieutenant Parker Crockett.
Deputy Davis classification.
Great. Do y'all have any comments on this offenders while he's been in your custody?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Festavan, do you have a piece of paper in front of you that you signed?
Yes.
Questions?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. The answers to that questionnaire indicate that you are not eligible for appointed counsel. And
Okay.
I don't think that you hired an attorney today, did you?
No, ma'am, not that I know of.
Okay, you would know. Mr. Festavan, I'm going to read the allegations against you, and you're going to enter a plea of guilty, not guilty, or guilty with a statement. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So, okay, go ahead.
We are accusing you that you failed to adhere to the condition of supervision by giving probation and parole agents the wrong address. You gave them, you were supposed to be paroled out to 609 Carrot Drive, Shreveport.
That's Baccarat Drive, ma'am. That's where my stepmother. That's where I'm going. Yes, ma'am.
But you were actually, when you were arrested, you told them that your address was 3208 Riviera Street.
Well, ma'am, I was in the process. I had was purchasing some property. Is next door. I don't have the mailbox or none of that stuff there, but I was in the process of purchasing some property, and at the time, that's where the occasion happened at. But I'm still at 609 Baccarat. That's where I'm back in. That's where my clothes. You know what I'm saying? I was just there for the weekend cleaning up my property, the property that I was purchasing.
Okay, so are you guilty or not guilty?
No, ma'am. I was not guilty. I still at the residence.
Okay.
At 609 Baccarat. For now.
Okay. Number 4, you failed to adhere to your supervision requirements by committing the offense of operating a vehicle while under supervision for certain prior felonies, violations of registration provisions, and criminal sanctions for operating a motor vehicle not covered by insurance. The second and third of those, I think, were not charged, but you did plead guilty to operating a vehicle with a suspended license.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay.
And Judge Ramona gave me 4 months, and I've already did all that, ma'am.
Okay, but you were guilty of doing that.
Yeah, yes, ma'am, I was.
Okay, so when they went to arrest you on August 18th, you were in possession of a firearm at that time.
Ma'am, I had bought a truck. My mother had just passed away, and I was moving.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Guilty, not guilty, or guilty with a statement. Did you have a gun in your vehicle when you were arrested?
Ma'am, it's not my vehicle. It's not my truck. The gun.
I know, but you were driving it because they saw you. Did you have a gun in the vehicle that you were in control of that day?
No, ma'am, I didn't. The gun is not mine. It is not. No, ma'am, it's not my truck. It's nothing. No, ma'am.
Okay, I have, I wrote down, I read everything in your file, everything the officer said, and
Yes,
I put on my file, you may be allergic to the truth.
No, ma'am,
because everything that
I told the fire officer that I had forgot. I borrowed the truck and I had forgot the gun was behind the truck. I told the officer, I said, Officer Duvall, I forgot it was in there. And when he said, sir, is there anything? I said, Yes, sir, officer, there's a firearm behind the passenger seat. I do, sir. It is. I told the officer and he said, thank you, Richard. He said, you're not gonna be charged for it. I say, thank you, Officer Duvall. Yes, ma'am.
That's a violation of your parole.
Uh,
Do my colleagues have any questions?
No questions.
No questions. Mr. Festervan,
yes, ma'am.
you are having a lifetime suspension of your driver's license because you had a DWI third and fourth.
Yes, ma'am, that's in the prior past. Yes, ma'am, I have.
It's in the current too.
Okay.
So, I'm prepared to vote, based on, preponderance of evidence. My vote, is to revoke that you have, violated conditions of parole. Mr. Bob Rob?
I concur. Same with you.
Ms. Stapleton?
I concur for the same reason.
Okay, so today your, parole has been revoked.
Ma'am, over misdemeanor.
And the good.
Yeah, that'll.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the Louisiana Committee on Parole, and we're impaneled at headquarters in Baton Rouge. On my left is Ms. Stapleton. To my right is Mr. Barra. I'm Ms. Ledoux. Could the staff there at CADDO Correctional introduce yourself?
Yes, ma'am. Lieutenant Parker Crockett.
See you again. Okay, thank you. Would Andrew please introduce yourself with your name and your DOC number?
My name is Antonio Smart, DOC number 723348.
Okay, Mr. Smart, you're before the panel today on allegations of violations of your conditions of parole. Do you have some paperwork in front of you that has your signature?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the answers to those questions indicate that you are not eligible for appointed counsel. Did you hire an attorney for today?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Smart, we have that you violated condition number 3 of your parole. It says that you are supposed to live at the address on your discharge certificate. And that if you move, you have to get permission from your parole officer. And you failed to provide an address that you lived at, making it impossible to conduct home visits. How do you plead?
How do I plead?
Guilty? Guilty with a statement or not guilty? Did you live at the address that was on your certificate?
Guilty. I was guilty.
Thank you for being honest, because I've read your entire report. Thank you for being honest.
Yes, ma'am.
It says that you tested positive for marijuana on 11/5/2025. How do you plead to that?
Guilty.
You were discharged from the Exit 318 program for noncompliance 10/17/2025. How do you plead?
Guilty.
And number 9, you agreed to visits at your place of residence and employment and of all of your property. You failed to have a valid address, making it impossible for home visits.
Guilty.
Mr. Smart, what would you like to say to this panel in light of your guilty pleas? So tell me what's going on.
I just was released from the BOSSIER medium facility in which I was going to stay with my aunt. I am a registered SO, so I don't know if my parole officer was aware of the stimulations that I needed to abide by, which she told me she wasn't aware. She has to get more information on it. But when she comes by my aunt's house, the 2 times that she come by, I wasn't there. I called immediately as soon as she come by, and I get no answer. I called the parole office on Uri Drive and get in touch with her, and she tells me that I need to get back to the address that's on my diminution of sentence. I get back to the address, I wait for my parole officer 3 to 4 days, and like I said, I just was released, so I'm working. I'm already working. I'm in and out that house, but I wasn't staying, like you said, living there. I wasn't living there, but I was trying to catch my parole officer there, and so we can do that home visit.
Okay. Mr. Smart, there's a reason that they have approved residence plans for SOs. Okay? And it's not about an address. It's where you lay your head at night. Okay? I listen to your conversations. Okay? I know the thought pattern. If I can just get a residence where somebody will say, I was there, and they show them my stuff, I know how it works. You're a 3rd felony offender. You know how it works. Okay? There's a real problem with this. I would say that you're also very respectful to your mother. I'm going to hear now from your fiance, LaShunta Taylor. Is that it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
What would you like to say?
I would like to say that this is my first time, having to deal with something like this. And I would also like to say that I understand the stipulations and the seriousness of the parole rules. And I want to say that we take full accountability for his actions, and I hold him accountable for his actions. And I just wanted to say that if he's given another chance, I will make sure that he make all treatments and attend all appointments and be at the address that he's supposed to be at, because he has a valid and a great address to give to you guys on today. It's going to be his brother's address, but I'm well aware of all the rules now and the regulations, and I just want to say that we know the seriousness of this, of the parole and the rules.
Hey. So, Antonio, do you have a drug problem?
I wouldn't say a problem. No, ma'am. I wouldn't say a problem, but
You need to stop saying the question like that. Do you do illegal drugs routinely?
marijuana, I'll smoke it. Yes, ma'am. I'll every now and again I'll smoke it.
So you don't think you need any kind of drug intervention?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do my colleagues have any questions?
You think you need drug treatment?
He said,
No, sir.
Okay.
I believe I can stop. If given another chance, I could. It was optional that I did that. I wasn't supposed to do that. that was but I wouldn't say a problem. No, sir. I wouldn't say a problem with it. But if substance abuse classes were I would attend. If
But you didn't go to the 318 program. Why did you not continue there?
I attended, yes, ma'am, I attended, and when I got there, the staff members had told me that I was kind of over the top of people that comes there. So they help with getting IDs, driver license, jobs, and like I said, I was already 10 steps ahead of this program. But I did want to, which was accepted to me, which is offered to me by DOC, which I did accept. I wanted to attend this program. And when I got there, I was aware that they could pay some fees. Some of my SO fees helped me pay some of my SO fees. And by me just getting out of prison, I knew I would need the help. So I did accept the program. And my parole officer, we was about to pay for the flyer fees. Actually, me and the 318 program was doing good together. I was keeping up with my peer support team. And like I said, my parole officer couldn't catch me. We just kept missing each other. And when she found out that the 318 program was going to help me with some fees, that's how they got in contact. And it was requested by my parole officer for non-compliance to
Okay, so you had a job?
yes, ma'am.
We can just order it to Steve.
Can you ask for an executive? I'd like to ask for an executive session for a moment to discuss confidential information, because with you being an SO, there's different regulations and I need to get some information, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we returned from executive session. Mr. Smart, have you ever had any drug charges in the past?
Yes, ma'am.
More than marijuana?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Oh.
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to defer to my colleague, Mr. Balroff, for the first vote.
All right, I'm gonna vote not to revoke you today. In lieu of revocation, I'm gonna recommend you for a long-term DOC approved treatment program. You can deal with your marijuana problem and whatever other problems you got.
Ms. Stapleton?
I'm going to concur with Mr. Byron.
Mr. Smart, I want you to focus on the programs Thinking for a Change, Moral Recognition, any of those programs. It's going to help you think differently. Cannot stress, and I'll let you say something. You raised your hand. Go ahead.
I've already done that program, ma'am.
The Steve Hoyle program?
Yes, ma'am. I just was released from the Steve Hall program.
Successfully?
Yes, sir. Got all certificates. I sent them to you guys. All a 9-month treatment program.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were still using drugs after that?
It's safe to say I relapsed. Yes, sir. Optional. Like I said, optional though. Option. I learned a lot from that program. Kind of listening to people. Your parole officer won't drug test you. Kind of just going off of. I can't admit to kind of listening to people.
You were listening to people as to how to not get caught?
No, ma'am. As in they might not drug test you at all, kind of thing. My parole officer don't drug test me, you know.
I don't like parole officer. I listened to the conversations between you and someone while you were in prison, you know, and talked very disparaging about your parole officer, which is not acceptable because that needs to be one of your best friends if you're going to stay out.
Yes, ma'am. You're right.
Okay. Well, my vote is to do not revoke, continue on supervision with enhanced visitations to your residence. And you are to be at that residence every night. That's where you lay your head. Wherever that address is, that's where you lay your head. I don't want to have any more vote. That's my vote. Okay.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Curfew.
Back.
Put a curfew from 10 to 6.
Yeah, you can continue instead of.
I'm just going to vote.
Okay, yeah, that'll be good. Yeah. Okay, so you have to vote.
Okay, I concur with Ms. Ledoux, and I would add the condition that you have a curfew from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so on a 2-to-1 vote, you've been reinstated on your supervision with enhanced visitation to make sure that you're at the residence that's on the plan and that you have a curfew.
Yes, ma'am.
And stop doing marijuana. It's still illegal in the state of Louisiana. And if you're on parole, you shouldn't be doing it anyway.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, you do that, boy.
Louisiana Committee on Parole is impaneled at headquarters in Baton Rouge. On my left is Ms. Stapleton. To my right is Mr. Barra and Ms. Ledoux. Would you please state your name and your DOC number for the record?
Courtney Fears, 517-828.
Mr. Fears, do you have a questionnaire in your possession that shows your signature?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, your answers to that questionnaire indicate that you are not eligible for appointed counsel. Have you hired an attorney today?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I'm going to read some allegations against that you have been accused of violating conditions of parole. And I'd like for you to enter a plea of guilty with a statement, or not guilty, very much like your preliminary. Condition number 2, you failed to report to the Probation and Parole Office since August of 2024.
Not guilty. I reported since then.
Okay, so you pled guilty at your preliminary?
No, I did time for a technical violation before, but absconded, and I reported after that, and then I got charged with this charge.
Okay. So number 3 says you changed residence without permission and your whereabouts were unknown.
That's what I did the time for the absconding, they said, and I changed addresses where I seen my parole officer, Ms. Cook.
So you were guilty of that one.
That was the first one. That's what I did the 30-day tech for. I'd previously been incarcerated for.
So your plea is guilty.
Yes, ma'am.
Number 4, you committed the offense of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon and possession of Schedule 2 and marijuana on 5/3/25. Shreveport Police Department issued a warrant and you were arrested 6/13/25. Your charges for those are set for hearing on March 2nd, 2026. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Number 5, you possessed a firearm when they arrested you, according to the offense report.
Not guilty.
Failed to show proof of employment.
Not guilty.
You failed to report as directed, thereby inquiries were not conducted.
Not guilty. I reported when I got out from the technical violation, and I got incarcerated 2 days after for this. So I reported
drug screens.
Not guilty because I was only out for 2 days.
Okay. You failed to give a valid address to your parole officer.
Not guilty. I had the 1712 address that she knew about.
And you did not pay any on your supervision fees.
Not for the 2 days when I was out. So guilty of that.
Okay. So you have these outstanding charges that you're going to go to court on. What is the court date on that? June 30th.
March 2nd.
March 2nd. Do you want to continue so that you can see what happens at that court hearing?
Yes, because I'm still deferring because I'm pleading not guilty and I'm looking for the charges to be dropped March 2nd.
Well, you have all these others. I mean, the absconding charges, you definitely absconded supervision.
Yes, I did time for the absconding previously. I did a 90-day tech on my record, and I did a 30-day tech previously for absconding. And then I got incarcerated for this charge 2 days later. So I just wanted that to be clear, like I did the time for the absconding. I'm not debating that.
Okay, so we understand that you had the technical violation and that you were dealt with on the streets on that. but we still can revoke you on absconding. That is still part of the charges against you
On this charge,
on absconding.
okay, because I was under the impression that this was just for the aggravated battery.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Okay. Well, I do plead guilty for absconding. That's what I said last time previously. If this is all going together, because I was only out for 2 days. So if it's all going together, yes, I do plead guilty.
Yeah, because you absconded supervision during this period of supervision.
Yes, ma'am.
You're a third felony offender.
Yes, ma'am.
And you know the ropes. Do either of my colleagues have any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Want to continue? This is gone. You have absconded supervision, and you have done some time for that. We dealt with that on the streets. You do have these drug charges, which, I mean, if you have asked to be continued so you can deal with the drug charges.
Well, it's an aggravated battery, and they said it's a drug charge, I believe.
Yeah, it's a drug, yes.
And so I'm still waiting on going to court for that. That's the reason why I deferred. I was under the impression that that was the only thing that I was going for this time, because I already did time for the absconding, and I pled guilty previously for that. And I was given 90-day checks and a 30-day check. So I figured that we were getting things back in track when I got out, and I was incarcerated for this 2 days later. So that's why I figured I was pleading guilty to the absconding before. I told them that.
Yeah. You've been seen and ordered to go to Blue Walters in 23. You had a 50-day tech, you had a warrant for absconding, and then you had a 30-day tech.
Right.
I think I'd like to continue the case and see what happens in court.
Right.
You know, because that's a big concern of mine.
Right. That's the only reason why I've been deferring this long, because I've been waiting for them to drop the charges for my case I'm on now.
You've been detained since June, so if you want to continue being detained, my vote would be to continue. Mr. Barra?
I concur, continue to the outcome of the pending trial.
And Ms. Stapleton?
I concur.
So
Thank
we'll
you.
okay.
Appreciate it.
Okay, sir, this is the Louisiana Committee on Parole. We're at headquarters in Baton Rouge. On my left is Ms. Stapleton. To my right is Mr. Barra and Ms. Ledoux. Please state your name and your DOC number for the record.
Deadrian Thomas. My DOC number is 736795.
Okay. Mr. Thomas, do you have a questionnaire in front of you that you recognize your signature?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the answers to that questionnaire indicate that you're not eligible for appointed counsel, and it doesn't look like you have hired an attorney. So we're going to ask you some questions about your parole violations. Ms. Stapleton's going to read those. You're going to enter a plea of guilty with a statement, or not guilty.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, for rule violation number 2, the subject failed to report to his parole officer and submit a monthly supervision report as instructed from July 2024 through October of 2025. Which you plead, guilty, not guilty, or statement?
Guilty.
Okay. Number 3, the subject was not living at his listed residence of 3108 Wagoner, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71109, which was the address verified by the parole officer on May 24th, 2023. A warrant was issued September the 5th, 2024. He was arrested on November the 10th, 2025 in Shreveport, Louisiana, and was booked into CADDO Correctional Center. Guilty, not guilty, or statement. Okay. Number 10, the subject failed to pay his supervision fees and was $1,584 in arrears. Guilty, not guilty, or statement?
Guilty.
Okay. Well, based upon everything you just said, I'm going to revoke your parole. Everybody else gets a vote, but there's no reason. You have no statement.
We can't supervise when we can't find. Mr.
I
Barra?
concur with Ms. Stapleton. You didn't take this serious.
My vote is also to revoke. So today, based on a unanimous vote, you have been revoked. The time is now 11:23, and that concludes our business there at CADDO and for the day. Thank you.
That's my age. I get up 28.
28, it's 26.
We're back in session to deal with an offender that refused to come out of his cell to present himself before the parole board today. Mr. Orlando Jones. Mr. Jones, DOC number is 441748. He was before our panel because he had allegations of parole violation that he failed to report to the PNP officer within 48 hours. We found him guilty of that. That he reported on 9/25 and has not reported since that day. The offender moved from the address on the certificate without the probation and parole officer's knowledge. The offender failed to provide proof of employment. The offender committed the offense of cruelty to juveniles as evidenced by his arrest by 11/19/2025, and that he is in arrears of supervision fees, $126. My vote today would be to revoke Mr. Jones's parole. Ms. Stapleton?
I concur.
And Mr. Barra?
I concur, revoke.
So Mr. Orlando in absentia is revoked. Thank you.